objections. The debates drained him of his fire. There was no cast down by this defeat of his plan, for upon studying the affair carefully, he could not but admit that the objections were very formidable. Furthermore, various elements had begun to cry out. In their presence, he could not persist in flying high with the wings of war. They rendered it almost impossible for him to see himself in a heroic light. He tumbled headlong. He discovered that he had a scorching thirst. His face was so dry and grimy that he thought he could feel his skin crackle. Each bone of his body had an ache in it, and seemingly threatened to break with each movement. His feet were like two sores. Also, his body was calling for food. It was more powerful than a direct hunger. There was a dull, weight-like feeling in his stomach, and, when he tried to walk, his head swayed and he tottered. He could not see with distinctness. Small patches of green mist floated before his vision. While he had been tossed by many emotions, he had not been aware of ailments. Now they beset him and made clamor. As he was at last compelled to pay attention to them, his capacity for self-hate was multiplied. In despair, he decided that he was not like those others. He now conceded it to be impossible that he should ever become a hero. He was a craven loon. Those pictures of glory were piteous things. He groaned from his heart and went staggering off. A certain moth-like quality within him kept him in the vicinity of the battle. He had a great desire to see and to get news. He wished to know who was winning. He told himself that, despite his unprecedented suffering, he had never lost his greed for a victory. Yet he said, in a half-apologetic manner to his conscience, he could not but now know that a defeat from the army... He could not but know that a defeat for the army this time might mean many favorable things for him. The blows of the enemy would splinter regiments into fragments. Thus, many men of courage, he considered, would be obliged to desert the colors and scurry like chickens.
Do you skip a line? He would appear as one of them. Didn't she? Oh,
That's her next one.
sorry.
He would appear as one of them.
Sorry.
They would be sullen brothers in distress, and he could then easily believe he had not run any farther or faster than they. And if he himself could believe in his virtuous perfection, he conceived that there would be small trouble in convincing all others. He said, as if in excuse for this hope, that previously the army had encountered great defeats and in a few months had shaken off all blood and tradition of them, emerging as bright and valiant as a new one, thrusting out of sight the memory of disaster and appearing with the valor and confidence of unconquered legions. The shrilling voices of the people at home would pipe dismally for a time, but various generals were usually compelled to listen to these ditties. He, of course, felt no compunctions for proposing a general as a sacrifice. He could not tell who the chosen for the barbs might be, so he could center no direct sympathy upon him. And then the people were afar, and he did not conceive public opinion to be accurate at long range. It was quite probably they would hit the wrong man who... Probable. It was quite probable they would hit the wrong man who, after he had recovered from his amazement, would perhaps spend the rest of his days in writing replies to the songs of his alleged failures. It would be very unfortunate, no doubt, but in this case a general was of no consequence to the youth. In a defeat, there would be a roundabout vindication of himself. He thought it would prove in a manner that he had fled early because of his superior powers of perception. A serious prophet, upon predicting a flood, should be the first man to climb a tree. This would demonstrate that he was indeed a seer. A moral vindication was regarded by the youth as a very important thing. Without self, he could not, he thought, wear the sore badge of his dishonor through life, with his heart continually assuring him that he was despicable. He could not exist without making it, through his actions, apparent to all men. If the army had gone gloriously on, he would be lost. If the din meant that now his army's flags were tilted forward, he was a condemned wretch. He would be compelled to doom himself to isolation. If the men were advancing, their indifferent feet were trampling upon his chances for a successful life. As these thoughts went rapidly through his mind, he turned upon them and tried to thrust them away. He denounced himself as a villain. He said that he was the most unutterably selfish man in existence. His mind pictured the soldiers who would place their defiant bodies before the spear of the yelling battlefield, and as he saw their dripping corpses on an imagined land field, he said that he was their murderer. Amber, your turn.
I don't know if I'm going to do any better. Again, he thought that he wished he was dead. He believed that he envied a corpse. Thinking of the slain, he achieved a great contempt for some of them, as if they were guilty for thus becoming lifeless. They might have been killed by lucky chances, he said, before they had had opportunities to flee or before they had been really tested. Yet they would receive laurels from tradition. He cried out bitterly that their crowns were stolen and their robes of glorious memories were shams. However, he still said that it was a great pity he was not as they. The defeat of the army had suggested itself to him as a means of escape from the consequences of his fall. He considered now, however, that it was useless to think of such possibility. His education had been that success, for that mighty blue machine was certain that it would make victories as a contrivance turns out buttons. He presently discarded all his speculations in the other direction. He returned to the creed of soldiers. When he perceived again that it was not possible for the army to be defeated, he tried to bethink him of a fine tale which he could take back to his regiment, and with it turn the expected shafts of derision. But, as he mortally feared these shafts, it became impossible for him to invent a tale he felt he could trust. He experimented with many schemes, but threw them aside one by one as flimsy. He was quick to see vulnerable places in them all. Furthermore, he was much afraid that some arrow of scorn might lay him mentally low before he could raise his protecting tale.
Okay, slow down. All right, so what he's doing in his mind is formulating how he's going to respond, right? I think Abraham Lincoln was famous for saying, a liar has to have an excellent memory. So if you're going to tell a lie, you have to remember to tell every detail the same every time. And if you're ever off guard and you get thrown a question, it can unsettle your entire tale. Okay, finish.
He imagined the whole regiment saying, quickly.
Clinton,
Oh,
Clayton, Clayton.
you said it right.
Huh?
Okay.
Squares.
You only have one line, dude. Get with it. Where's Henry?
Wait for it.
Okay. He run, didn't he?
Where's Henry Fleming? He run, didn't he? Oh my.
He recalled various persons who would be quite sure to leave him no peace about it. They would doubtless question him with sneers and laugh at his stammering hesitation. In the next engagement, they would try to keep watch of him to discover when he would run. Wherever he went in camp, he would encounter insolent and lingeringly cruel stares. As he imagined himself passing near a crowd of comrades, he would hear someone say,
There he goes.
Then, as if the heads were moved by one muscle, all the faces were turned toward him with wide, derisive grins. He seemed to hear someone make a humorous remark in a low tone. At it, the others all crowed and crackled. He was a slang phrase.
Yeah. There goes Henry.
What?
There goes Henry.
Oh.
That word is derisive,
Oh,
derision.
sorry.
Okay, chapter 12, starting in page 75. And you have no homework for the weekend. Yeah, you have worksheets. Wait a minute, you have worksheets due Monday, right?
Yeah, you didn't write it up there.
Which worksheet is it?
I don't know, whatever.
There's
That is.
something, D something, through something, something.
I think
thought
it's
it was
17 and 18.
It's like 94 through 104. Yeah, okay. It's something like that. It's only one chapter. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. 94 through
But it's like
104.
10 pages.
You're killing me, Trevor.
It's 2 chapters. Guys, I just did it differently. It's 2 chapters.
It is?
Yep,
Okay.
I just did it different. Hold on, short ribs, get back here. You still got 4 minutes.
No, they don't.
Oh.
35.
Oh, okay.
Not 40.
Get out of here.